But what you saying though, like,
Man, why you always gotta be so gangster? Like, chill out.
shut up, cause you know you like it.
What's good, y'all? Welcome
you
to
right,
another
I do
episode
like
of the GinTV podcast. As always, got your boy Eazy in the building.
And A1DasauceGod.
We are short a cast member today, but not like the Joe Budden podcast. There's no beef. We still good. He just signed his little vacation, but we do have a very special guest in the building. Might be our biggest guest
No,
we've
most
ever had so far.
definitely.
Got the lovely Hunni in here. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you for coming, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing stuff like this.
Okay.
It's like definitely the new wave, right? Everybody's doing their own podcast,
Yeah.
right? Everybody thinks they got a voice everyone needs to hear.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But
you know, everybody thinks they got something to say. Fuck it.
as long as somebody listening, right? As long as the views is there, you good.
Yo.
Most definitely.
Yo, yeah, for real.
So for the people that don't know you, which shouldn't be too many left, right? Because you definitely got a buzz around here. Like you're a rapper,
Yep.
female rapper at that, which is like I think definitely on the come up. I would say like in these last couple of years, I think female rap is definitely like
They're still making it like their position in the game right now.
you don't think it's established yet?
I think it's established, but I don't think it's established in the sense that it should be.
Okay.
It's not established based off of bars and punchlines and flow and cadences and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's based off of looks.
Most definitely.
It's based off of looks
So-
and it's based off of twerking and dancing and
So
shit
rap,
like that.
the female rap game to you right now is just mostly on that sex sells kind of vibe.
Yes, completely. The
So-
only one I see that's out there that's like, I mean, obviously like a young MA.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not, I mean, that, and in her own right, you know what I'm saying? Like the type
does
of
what she
people that
does,
like
yeah.
her, you know what I'm saying? That's their wave, I guess. But, you know, the only one really is like Rhapsody.
Okay.
That's
yeah, yeah.
out there. You know what I'm saying? Is Rhapsody.
You know, and this might sound a little crazy or off-putting, but like I don't really like. I know Young M.A. is definitely a woman, but when I look at female rap, I really kind of put her in the dude category.
Yeah.
So I guess really just not even two, really one. And like, I don't even think I would say Rhapsody gets that kind of love. And
She doesn't get the respect she deserves.
from listening to your music, I've noticed that I think with the exception of maybe one song, you don't really talk about sex too much. Like you're strictly
The
bars.
lyrics,
Yeah.
Do you find that it to be harder to get your music out there for people to hook onto your music because of that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that the people who really rock with me, that's why they rock with me.
Right.
Is because they're like, they listen and they're like, yo, you just killed that verse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
when I dropped Show Off recently, I had mad people hitting me up like, yo, you took me back to Little Kim vibes.
For
And you know what I'm
real.
saying?
Yeah.
So the people who really rock with me, that's what they love about me. They love that I'm not doing what
And
everybody
you're
else
not
is
changing
doing.
up. Like you're staying true to yourself.
Right. And I mean, I have my slick little bars here and there. I mean, I could get raunchy on the record.
Yeah.
I got one. It's just in the stash right now. We got it. It's just, you know, and it's not that I'm like scared to release it or anything like that. It's just the timing.
Absolutely. No, that's what I noticed. Like when I was listening to some of your music, it's like more so on the like the lyricist side. So you're not really you're not trying to promote sex like that. You're not doing like the Nicki or the Cardi type of vibe. Like you're really just bar for bar. Like you're trying to go toe to toe with the lyrics. And I find like me personally, maybe I'm wrong. I find like female artists that really do that have more difficult time getting their music the attention that it deserves, because most guys aren't looking at a female artist to really be a lyricist. They're more looking at them to be sexy, to be portrayed as like a sex model. Not to say that you're not that, but I'm saying that in a sense where that's what they're expecting from the music. And me personally, like as a listener, it's almost when I hear a female artist, that's the main thing I'm looking for. Is like, okay, when is the sex bar gonna come
So
in?
you're part of the problem.
More than likely.
Well, this is the thing, right? I look back of what I was growing up on. I grew up Little Kim Foxy era, right? Where Little Kim and Foxy was the main ones. You had the Brat, you had, you know what I'm saying? You had Eve or whatever, but when people really talked about it, but even with Eve too, like Little Kim, Foxy, Eve or whatever, like I grew up around a lot of males. Like all my cousins and stuff. I have an older brother, it's just me and him. But like all my cousins that were my age were dudes. And then they all had older brothers. So it was like I grew up with a lot of guys. So when I'm in the car with my brother or whatever, he's playing certain things.
Right.
And when it came down to it, they would still bang a Lil Kim record. They'll still bang a Foxy record. They'll still bang an Eve record. And because there's records on there that they can go for, you know what I'm saying? Like they can spit with them. It's not where they're going just as hard as a dude would.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I grew up.
Okay.
So for me, it's like it don't matter. It shouldn't matter what I'm wearing. You know what I'm saying? You got to listen to them bars. And if you really rock with me, you listening to the bars, no matter what I'm wearing.
If you were in a position right now, to like get signed by a bigger company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to really like get that big check everybody's looking for, but they wanted to rebrand you a little bit in more of a sex sell kind of way. Would you change for that check right now?
I would.
You would?
And that's being real.
Shit.
That's real
But
though.
I put it in this terms, right? What is it called? It's called the game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to play the game. Like at the end of the day, you got to play the game.
Right.
So if they tell me like, yo, we love your Hunni image, we love the purple hair, we love the makeup, you know, we love the nails, we love this, we love the jewelry, the ice, the this, but we gonna need you to go out like this or go out like that. I'd be like, all right, cool, let's go.
Okay.
I'm comfortable enough with myself because I know who I am.
Absolutely. And that speaks volumes to you as a person, because I feel like most people they want to be on this like integrity thing or my morals thing, but not realizing like you're in it for a reason. Not to say that you're gonna go completely against it and, you know, be out here wilding, but I feel like you said, you have to play the game. You have to do what it takes to get you to that level. You may be beating a dead horse in this direction, but an opportunity arises in a different direction.
Right. And when you look at it, you look at a lot of artists that are on right now, right? A lot of artists that are on right now had to rebrand. J. Cole did not come in as J. Cole.
Yeah.
J. Cole's name was The Therapist.
Yeah, true.
Kendrick Lamar wasn't coming in as Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar was K-Dot. You know what I mean? A lot of these artists had to rebrand. Rhapsody wasn't even Rhapsody before. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of these artists had to rebrand to get to another level. It's part of it.
Have you rebranded yourself yet?
Yeah. Actually, Hunni is my rebrand.
Oh, what were you before?
I used to go by my real name, Nikki Ellis.
Nikki Ellis. What made you rebrand yourself into Hunni?
I got signed to an indie label. So when I got signed to the indie label, my manager we had went out to LA to Complex Con. And that time going out to LA, we was moving and shaking with a lot of heavy hitters, you know?
Okay.
So we hadn't signed the contract yet, but that's where it was heading. And so my manager was just like, yo, you know, he was working with somebody else and he was like, yo, I'm going to just introduce you to everybody and make your way around the conference and, you know, we'll link up after. When we linked up in the hotel room, he was like, you know, I got a lot of good feedback. Everybody fucks with you. They love your personality, but it's very hard to break a female artist. Everybody's unanimous, you know, suggestion was that I rebrand you.
Okay.
So I'm like, at first I was like, nah. I was like, no. Like I legit was like crying. Like I walked out my hotel room in tears. I called my husband. I'm like crying. And what I just said about it's the game, you got to play the game. Those was his words to me, because that's how I felt.
So your manager put you on some game then, because at that time you were kind of being stubborn about it.
My husband is the one.
Oh, your husband then put you on.
My manager was like, yo, this is what we're gonna have to do to break you into the industry.
And you wasn't with it.
And I wasn't with it. My husband was the one that was like, yo, what's this shit called? It's called a game, right? Like I literally just said what he told me years ago. He's like, it's just called a game, right? He was like,
that's what you want from a partner, like to put you on some shit that you wasn't like.
He was like, yo, you better play this fucking game. This your dream. This what you've been working for since you was a kid, and you got an opportunity in front of you, and you mad over a name change? Like he going in on me. I was like, I wiped my tears. I went back up to the room, but I was like, all right, fine. And then that day we changed my name to
So did they already pick Hunni for you, or was it like it was a collective thing?
Okay. Yeah, we had like dispersed again because my manager had to go do some work with another artist, so we like dispersed again, and I went to go sit in on one of the panels. So while I'm sitting in on the panel, I'm like texting him like different name ideas, and then I said Hunni, and he was like, hold on. So he texted his partner. And his partner was like, yeah, that's the one. So he was like, yo, go on social media, try to lock down whatever Hunni handles you can. Of course, just Hunni was taken. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just do Hunni music so people know it's like a music page and whatever.
How long have you been Hunni now then? Like years, months? Is it?
No, it's been a couple years.
Couple years?
Have you noticed like a transition from your previous alias to this?
Transition how so?
Like, I guess more attention, more followers, more
like did the rebrand actually help?
Yeah,
it did.
Oh, okay.
It did. Yeah. especially so at first when we started the rebrand, it was like, okay, we're gonna change the name. But then it was like, well, we have to figure out how to separate Hunni from Nikki Ellis, because when it was going by my real name, it was easy. I could roll up and kind of like whatever and be like, nah, I'm chilling. It's just me, you know? So we had to figure out like, well, who is Hunni gonna be without, because my big thing was like, I'll rebrand, but I don't want to lose myself either. You know what I'm saying?
That's the tough part in it.
Right. But then I did start getting comfortable. Once I did like start doing like the purple hair and the makeup and, you know, changing my style in that sense, I was like,
oh, so you got like not even just a name, like you rebranded your whole look.
Yeah,
like
everything.
So your hair is part of like the Hunni package.
If you notice, like all my videos, my photo shoots, it's always purple.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll throw like the blonde braids in there or whatever, but everything is for the most part purple.
Okay.
But that's I don't want to say the gimmick, but that's what's gonna make you remember me. And it worked. Like I had an instance
you got a good team around you. Are you still signed to this current manager or indie label?
So our contract technically ended, but we're still together. Like we're on a handshake situation now.
So now, what is an indie label? Could you explain like what's the difference between an indie label and like, I guess being signed to like one of these major labels?
All right, so people don't realize that there's only 3 real record labels in the business.
Okay,
it's Universal, Universal Republic, it's Sony, and Warner Brothers.
So Def Jam is not like a
Def Jam is under somebody else. So like literally, the only 3 like real record labels. So like even like Atlantic and all that other stuff, they're like a subsidiary under one of those 3 major players. And if you notice, like they own everything. What's Warner Brothers? You see them on TV, you see them on movies. Sony, same thing. And so everybody else like falls under there. So there's only a few labels that are like completely independent. Like Roc Nation is completely independent. Like Roc Nation does not fall under any of those, right? So now the big difference between an indie label and a major label is the money. You know what I'm saying? Like major labels, they can throw out $1 million to promote for marketing for one single. You know what I mean? They can do all that because they have those funds. Indie labels, that's the grind, that's the hustle, that's the we ain't flying first class, we taking buses. You know what I mean?
It's actually just clicking to me that indie stands for independent.
Independent labels.
So so you've gotten paid through this already? Like, have you gotten paid as a rapper, like to do shows or anything like that yet?
Well, that's the thing. When things started picking up to get to that level, COVID happened.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you know, because obviously in the beginning, it's a lot of like, you know, you sign a contract and people think like my contract was for 2 years. So you think like 2 years, that's so much time. Like, but in retrospect, 2 years is very short, especially when COVID happens in between those 2 years.
And that's still in the like even with COVID, like that's not like a clause or anything. Like you're still in the contract during this time where you couldn't perform or do anything.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of clause would you have for COVID before COVID? Like, true. You know what I mean?
Like disaster clause, some shit like anything.
No, I don't think nobody thought we was about to go through some wild shit.
To go in a pandemic for this long.
Right. And even when COVID hit, like me and my manager had talked, and he was just like, "Yo," because we had a project that was supposed to drop. So I don't know if y'all seen on my catalog that's online right now. There's 3 records: "How You Living," "Big Business," and "Bang It All Out." That those were the singles for the second project. The second project never dropped because COVID
I think
hit.
the only full project that you got on now is Dark.
Dark Past Bright Future.
Yeah, like that's like a full project.
That's my first EP.
Okay.
So we had a full album, and what we had decided to do was split the album into 2 EPs.
Okay.
So, you know, build a fan base with 1 EP, and then we've already got all the material locked in for the second one, and you know what I mean? So kind of figuring out different ways to, you know, relieve the tensions on the pockets and stuff, you know?
Because when I was listening to it, right, one thing I didn't like, it wasn't enough. Like, I feel like I hate when, like, these new albums or just projects, like, it's just, like, only 4 or 5 songs. Like,
well, that's because those are called EPs. They're not full albums.
Okay.
EPs are supposed to be no more than, like, 7 songs.
Right.
So that's like Drake's thing that he just dropped was 3 records, but it's an EP. Like, it's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a difference between an album and an EP. That's why, like, sometimes there's artists who be out, and they may have had like a Drake type thing where it was 3 or 4 or whatever. But then like next thing you know, you'll see something like Megan Thee Stallion, for example. That album that she dropped, it said like her debut album, but she already had stuff out. But they were considered mixtapes.
That makes so much, because like I be seeing, like I feel like it's just the new wave nowadays. Is like, is that like EPs are more easier to do than albums? Like what? Like why is it going in that direction? My thing as a fan is like when my artist drops a project, like I want like 10, 12. I want to listen to you like next 2 weeks straight.
10 to 12 is like that sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you look at like Funeral. Funeral's got like what 30 records on it, and I didn't get through the whole album. Or I think I started feeling like
it's over. There's like obviously overkill.
Right. I started feeling like I think once I got to like 16, I was like, I don't even know what he's talking about anymore. Like I was like, what record is this? You know what I mean?
Not only that, but I feel like a lot of times when they start having like those books of fucking out music, it starts to all sound the same.
Chris Brown does that shit a lot.
Chris Brown had done it. Tory Lanez had done it. I think Trey Songz separated like two
Trey Songz,
albums.
his last one was like called 1128, and like 11 was one album and 28 was another album. But they had two different vibes. Like one was more of like R&B, the sexy records, the other one was more of like the party records. So like definitely, like I said, originally it was supposed to be like 13 tracks, but then just as we're learning and going through getting advice, a couple people was like, yo, maybe I should split it into 2. This way you build a fan base. Now as Hunni with the new music, give them a little bit here, and then you give them the rest, down later. The line.
Right.
But like I said, COVID hit, and that second EP never dropped.
Have you, like, since COVID, obviously we all, like the whole world does it, right? Have you gotten a positive out of this situation, or has it all just been like, fuck, like this really kind of
set me back,
a little bit? Like, do you think you gotten better throughout this? Like, has your fan base kind of dwindled, grown? Like, how has Hunni been through COVID?
I mean, I think all of us as artists, especially like independent artists, I think we all kind of went through the same kind of like lull, I guess you could say. Because if you think about it, like streaming is what they go by. Streaming doesn't bring in money though. Like streaming brings in shit. So, once COVID happened, it was like you couldn't even get in the studios and stuff like that. And then even if you could, certain people are just like, nah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, whatever. So like the music kind of like settled for a little bit. And then you had the death of George Floyd. So then that changed.
Actually, I was listening to that. I really like that one song you had.
Say My Name?
Yeah, like that was dope. Like, did you come up with that around that time?
Yeah. I came up with that because going to the protest.
Okay.
I went to the protest to march. And when I was marching, one of the chants was, say his name, say her name. Okay. So then I hit my boy Shump and I was like, yo, I got this idea. Why don't we take the Destiny's Child, Say My Name, sample it, and then, just that'll be the hook. I'll say everybody's name. It's sad that there's more names that have to get added to that list. And at some point, I'll probably do like a part 2 or whatever. Right. But it's sad what's going on right now. I mean, but yeah, like that changed the climate. You know what I'm saying? And then when the music did start coming back out again, it's really like the big artists that were able to kind of like capitalize off that. So then the rest of us independent artists is like, okay, we got to kind of find our way back in, because now it's like you got to kind of make a splash now, because what you were doing before, you was putting stuff out or you was gearing up to do something, and then everything just went on a standstill.
Which, as a consumer, from a consumer standpoint, like I agree with you. During COVID, like I was just waiting for like most of the bigger artists to like drop their newer projects out, or drop their newer projects during that time. Yeah. And then they really just took me a while. Actually, maybe like within the last like 3 months is when I started to listen to like some of the artists that don't really have like that big of a name again. Right. Because it's like during that time, I guess most people are looking for like something to disconnect. I guess music is like a way for people to just disconnect for a little bit, or to relate. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting those months for shit to drop. And then finally, when people are having the opportunity to drop new music, we're mainly listening for like the bigger names.
Exactly. So, I think COVID helped those bigger artists tremendously.
So for the smaller, like the independent up and coming artists, y'all really kind of like took a hit then.
Yeah, I think we all took a hit. But like, I look at like when I dropped the record with me and Annoyed, that was like my first video in a long time.
That's my favorite one, by the way. Yo, that back and forth shit. Yeah. Like what I'm trying to think, like, yo, did y'all like get that idea from somewhere? Like, I swear, like that shit hit home. So it brought me back. I don't know where it brought me back.
I will tell you exactly where it brought me back. So, do you remember the Jay-Z and Angie Martinez, Me Amor? Yeah. That's where it came from. Really? That's why I named the song Me Amor.
That is it. I gotta listen to that shit.
I only had one person who got it. Like, this DJ hit me up, and he's a DJ on one of the XM stations. He DM'd me and he was like, yo, I want to throw the record on my mix or whatever. And then he was like, can you send me like the instrumental? So I sent him everything. He sends me back a video, and he's got Jay-Z's verse over my Me Amor
Really?
beat. And I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yo, I was actually just telling him,
Yeah, we were
like,
upstairs
I was
just
trying to
talking
figure
about
out, I'm like, yo, bro, where is this bringing me to? I cannot figure it out.
I'll
Like,
tell
thank you.
That's what it is. So what happened was, I mean, I wanted to do a record like that for a long time. So there was that record, and then I don't know if you remember the DMX record, Good Girls, Bad Guys.
Rest in peace, by the way.
Rest in peace, DMX. That one hit hard.
No, most definitely.
It was his record. It wasn't like a single that he dropped, but it was on one of his albums. And I want to say it was on And Then There Was X. So that record, ever since that album came out, that was one of my favorite records on the album. So that song, between that song and the Me Amor record, I was like, yo, I really want to do something like this. I got to get a dude who's going to be down to do it, whatever.
Because y'all flow together like perfectly.
Oh,
like,
nah, me
like
and Annoyed are friends. So,
because I see you had another song with them too.
Nah, me and Annoyed only have one song together. Yeah, we only have one together.
Another one, but like that would like, did you try like that concept with other people and it just didn't work? Like that was in the first try. Like,
yeah, so what we did was I had a session booked with 2-4. So when I got to the session, Annoyed was chilling, like finishing up his session. So we were chopping it up, whatever. Everybody else that was supposed to be part of my session showed up. So I was talking to Chill Shump's manager, Mud, and I was like, yo, Mud, I was like, I got this idea, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, I think Annoyed would be dope for it. He's like, yo, talk to him. I'm pretty sure he'll do it with you. Because me and Annoyed are friends, too. Right. So he was like, but I just never know, like, how friendships and, like, I know Annoyed has a manager. So I just didn't know, like, I wanted to gauge it with Mud because I know he's friends with his manager. So he was like, nah, like, Annoyed will do that. I was like, oh, okay, because I've been wanting to ask him, but I just, I didn't want it to be weird or whatever.
How does it work? Like, I never really thought about it like that. Like, so if you want to work another artist that is signed, like, is it that simple? Yo, you just call them up, or does your manager have to talk to their manager? Y'all both.
It depends on the relationship. It depends on the relationship. So there's some people where it's like, if y'all cool, well, it just depends on your manager artist contract as well. Because my manager has never stepped in the way of me doing anything outside of our contract. Like for our situation, it was like, this is what you have to deliver for our contract. And I delivered everything for our contract. So, everything I've done that's out, like Me Amor is outside of that. Good Time is outside of that. Show Off is outside of that. Okay. So everything I've done outside of our contract, he'll still post it on his page or that. Like he's never.
So it's like he's not salty about
it. But what
right?
makes them outside of the contract?
Like I said, it depends on what the terms of your contract are.
Okay.
So like if the terms of your contract, well, that's why too with big artists, sometimes they'll drop EPs because the terms of their contract might be they have to drop a certain number of albums, but then maybe they're not liking how the label's doing something or whatever, so they'll start dropping mixtapes or they'll start dropping EPs.
I think Lil Wayne had done that at one point when he was going back and forth with.
I think it was that whole thing with like the Free Weezy album or whatever, and then he like
what's those type of contracts that said a 180 contract?
360.
360, right? Like that's like the ones you don't. Is that the bad one?
You can't get you cannot go into a situation now without getting a 360 deal.
Oh, that has to happen.
You know what I learned that was crazy? The first artist to ever get a 360 deal was Biggie.
Oh, so I was like a 92 or some shit like that,
because
right?
Diddy was getting his fucking money out of fucking everything.
So what's a 360 and what's a 180?
So I don't know if 180 is a term for a deal.
No, I was guessing. That's what I was trying to go for.
360 deal. All right. So back when it was like, because I think even like DMX's first contract was shit. A lot of these artists' contracts was shit back in the day. So your contract used to go off of album sales for the most part.
Right.
So artists like a DMX or whoever, the label's gonna be like, all right, so you have to do this many albums in this amount of time or whatever, and this is the percentage that we get off of your album sales. So that's why artists would drop an album and go on tour, because when you're on tour, they weren't getting tour money. Right. The tour money's going to you. That's between you and like the promoter and stuff like that. So tours was what's bringing in money and merchandise. So, and then, you notice a lot of artists will go into acting because you could get a check right from the movie and whatever.
Yep.
So without that company getting a bit
right.
of it.
So before, record labels, they were making mad money off of album sales because that's when it was physical CDs, vinyls, and tapes and all that.
Now the game done changed.
Now that it's not like that and streaming doesn't bring in shit, everything changed. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, if you do get a spot in a commercial, we'll get a piece of that check. If you do get a spot in a movie, we'll get a piece of that check. If somebody wants you on a soundtrack, we'll get a piece of that check.
So pretty much they own you. No matter what you do,
So
you have
360 is full circle. 360 is all around.
Would you sign a 360 right now?
I mean, my deal with my independent label was a 360.
So anything that you really...
I'm telling you, that's just
like,
the
there's just
industry
no way.
standard. It's the industry standard now.
So one thing I really don't understand, and I just heard you say that. So streaming doesn't make y'all any money. So
Nothing.
If you had 1 million streams on one of your songs right now, like...
All right, so 1 million streams off of... If you got 1 million streams on Spotify...
I listen to you on Spotify.
Okay, so 1 million... Spotify actually pays out the least to the artist.
Okay.
Tidal pays out the most to everybody. I don't know if
you on Tidal as well?
Yeah, I'm on everything.
Okay.
So if you get 1 million streams on Spotify, that equates to like a $6,000 check. If you get 1 million streams on Tidal, that's about 10,000. If you get 1 million streams on Apple, I think it's like in the middle of those two somewhere, like 8,000 or something like that. So, but that's 1 million streams.
So there's no like 1 million streams is the minimum to get paid? Or is there like...
No. You get paid per stream, but you only get a fraction of a penny per stream. So like,
I've seen you got a couple thousand streams. Like, have they cut you a check yet, or you still need more?
Nah, so what it is like whatever DSP like distributor you go through, whether it's like DistroKid or CD Baby or TuneCore or Vidya, whatever, whichever distributor you go through, when you put your music up, it sends it out to all the electronic stores. So Pandora, iHeart, it sends it everywhere. And then so every quarter, it depends. Some of them are monthly. I think TuneCore upgraded it now to like every month you can see what you made or whatever. Okay. But yeah, you'll see like a report or whatever, and it'll tell you like how much you earn per store, and you can withdraw your money whenever. It'll send it to like your PayPal or whatever, so you can withdraw your money whenever. But like I say, you're not gonna see those high numbers until you have crazy amount of streams. So the money will come in, but it's still like slow.
You can't do that like without work. Like, so you obviously at this point you have a job then, right? Or do you have?
No, I don't work.
So you strictly rap right now?
I do hip hop. I'm strictly a hip hop artist, and then I'm a full-time college student.
Okay. What do you want to college for?
Music business.
Music business.
Yeah.
Or you want to kind of manage yourself? Like...
Yeah, I mean, what the situation I have with my manager is great. But I want to make sure that like I don't need too many outside people to help me with certain things. Like, so I'm taking marketing classes and
smart
things like that, because if I could come up with my own ideas, why do I got to pay thousands of dollars for somebody else? You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Especially now with social media, where it's like you can pay like $20 for a Facebook ad or whatever. You just got to make sure that the ad pops. So figure out how that content is going to draw people in, So
I guess to backtrack a little bit, I noticed that you have a lot of features on some of your most of your songs. Do you find that you're just networking, or is it like artists that you value their music and you're really trying to work with them, or is the label telling you that you have to work with these artists? Like, how does the dynamic of the you putting out music work?
So when we did Dark Past Bright Future, we were down in Atlanta. So when we went to Atlanta, my manager, he already had hired like a Grammy Award winning producer, Pierre Mador. He already had Street Runner, who is another Grammy Award winning producer. They both have major hits. Like, their scoreboard is crazy. And then he brought in a writer. He brought in 2 writers. So, because my manager was like, yo, if we about to spend this bread, let's spend this bread. You know what I'm saying? And let's bring in as many.
When you say writer, like, do they write the music for you? Like, is all your music by yourself? Like,
no, I wrote the verses. The people who came in as writers came in for the hooks.
Okay.
So this is the thing. It just speeds up the process. So it's like, if I'm in there, if I gotta record 13 songs in 3 days, like, I'm gonna burn out at some point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what my manager did, he brought in 2 writers, 2 producers. So it was like, okay, we got this many beats from this one. We got this many beats from this one. He's gonna record all your stuff. He's gonna mix it, whatever. This dude is gonna help out with some hooks. He's gonna help out with some hooks. So, but when certain songs were coming up, it was like, he's writing them for a singer. I can't sing. So boom, Pierre's like, yo, I got somebody. Right. Cool. Calls in this chick, calls in another chick. Mm-hmm. Trending and applying pressure on Dark Past Bright Future got Clem Rashad. Clem is actually the writer for those hooks. Okay. But when we went to go re-record them, it just sounded better with him on it. So I asked, like, yo, can you talk to Clem and see if he'll just stay on the hook? Because I'm going to do what's best for the record at the end of the day. Like, I'm going to put my ego to the side, and I'm not going to sit in the booth for a whole day trying to get this hook right if he's doing it perfectly.
That definitely makes sense. But I know, like, in the rap game, right? When you bring up the word writer, it's almost like, oh, like you get a lot of flack for it. So is that something that like is kind of unavoidable if you're really trying to make? What's that situation with Meek Mill calling out Drake? Is that like what he kind of did, or was that
I will put it like this: all these motherfuckers in the game are using writers. Let me tell you how the game is structured right now.
Okay.
What people are doing is they're selling songs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what they're doing is you'll have somebody like even, okay, for example, Usher's Bad Habits that just came out recently. Pierre was the one that I worked with.
Okay.
He's the one that produced that beat, and he produced that record. And then the writer, Rossi, is one of the ones that was writing on my project. Rossi,
The same one from Usher?
yeah. Like I said, my manager came
Like,
through.
yo,
He
yeah.
actually grew up with a lot of these people and has
Okay.
really good business
Yeah,
relationships with these people. So when he was like, hey, I want to start my label and I'm going to bring this artist on, a lot of people were very, because he has such a good rapport with them, a lot of people were like, yo, send her my way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
Like, so that's what we did. So we took advantage of the situation and I've got to make a lot of good friends out of it. But yeah, so what I learned was that a lot of these people, they're teaming up. You got a producer and you got writers. So producers are sending their beats to writers. Writers are writing hooks. And then they're sending the songs to all these different artists. Right. And artists are taking them, like Wale's Routine. That's a Street Runner beat, and that's Clem Rashad on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing that happened with my records. Clem sounded good on the hook, so they left them. So
Right.
that's Wale, Meek, and Ross, and then Clem Rashad is on the hook. Because I guess nobody can match his energy on the hook
Right.
or whatever, but they kept him on it. So either way, like but that's just how the industry is working right now. Like they're selling songs. They're doing it for Cardi. They're doing it for Nicki. And be real, like
even Nicki, I swear, because some of them go so hard to say like, yo, nobody writes anything.
No, but I'm
shit.
saying they're not writing their verses.
No, I get that.
They're
but just
writing
like,
the hook.
Right.
No, I think I even heard some of them go like on other platforms like, yo, nobody's writing nothing on mine, and it's just like, but what you're saying makes so much sense because like, yo, you have so much time before you got to get all this shit out, and it's like if you could, I mean, because the whole chunk of it is still coming from you.
Yeah,
you just have like these little bits and pieces coming from other people that's helping you construct the song.
Right. I would say people like Wayne and stuff like that, they're writing all their own shit. Like, Wayne is not like, but it's certain it's a lot of artists. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say every artist or whatever. Let me not say that, but it's a lot of artists that I've come to learn that's how the industry is running now. Like producers can't just send in packs anymore. They're sending in, unless you got a relationship with a certain artist and you like they're locking in together and whatever that is. But a lot of these records, when they're getting submitted, they're getting submitted with a hook already attached. You know what I mean? And then the artists are writing the verses and, they're adding their own little flares or whatever to it, but it's written.
Like I remember even before Tory Lanez really made a name for himself, like he claimed that he had wrote for like a lot of musicians as well. So
a lot of people that have writers
you hear
for them.
a lot of that. Like, like I said, the biggest one to me was the Meek Mill and Drake one where he like, brought up Quentin Miller. But they said like, yo, he wrote his hooks and I think I forgot, maybe it was Drake or somebody from his camp was like, yo, this shit's like common.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like, and now you're like the way you just broke that shit down, it makes so much sense.
Nah,
like,
it's
even
what
with the
doing.
reference track as well. Like I guess with Quentin Miller was on a reference track for like one of the songs that.
Well, because you got to show them how it's supposed to sound on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and like everybody's giving him flack for it. I'm like, well, maybe he was like you said, maybe he's just showing them like the cadence is supposed to go, how the
and Meek Mill is doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Meek Mill's doing the exact same thing.
I was watching one of your videos on Instagram that said like you was going off. It was like a big rant. You was like, yo,
I was drunk.
Oh, you drunk?
That was actually the day before I started my 75.
Oh, you got that shit out. You got that shit.
So I was like, yo, they had bottles. I was like, might as well.
But one thing that really caught my attention was like, yo, you just kept saying like, yo, I've done so much shit that y'all trying to do. Like
check my go through my
I was like,
timeline.
scroll down my timeline. Like there's like a lot of posts on there, but I'm like, keep scrolling.
And yo, just like hearing what you're like who you've worked and all this stuff. Yo, like that's your actual facts. Like what are some things that like are pinnacles that you've reached that like some people don't even know about you really? Like is there anything out there like that you like
that you can't believe that you've done, or there's some things that you're even surprised within yourself that you actually were able to achieve?
Or like people you've worked with, like
I mean, when I signed my deal with my manager Jimmy, I mean he really pulled through and he really put me in a lot of rooms with a lot of people. And it's like, that's why I was like, yo, before COVID, we was building momentum. Like, we was going.
I think I seen you use on BET or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
we had a lot of stuff going. Like, I'm able to go to Revolt. You know what I'm saying? I got like the programming director's phone number. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff that like I'm walking into BET. Like, people know me at BET. You know, and this is stuff where it's like you walking through like. I'm walking through like shy still, and they're like, "Honey," you know, giving me hugs and stuff. And like, I remember my camera dude that was there at the time with me. He was like, "Yeah, that shit was like kind of fire." Like every section we walked in, somebody said your name. Like, well, you know what I'm saying? But that had also has to do with like the purple hair because it's the memorable thing. You know what I mean?
That's good marketing because now you're like, yo, they know, like you trademark yourself in a way. It's like, yo, oh, that purple hair coming through. Like, I already know who it is.
They know. And you know what's funny is a little sidetrack real quick, but y'all remember when Nipsey did the album for $100 a copy?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he got that idea.
Which was insane to me.
Well, he got that idea from this book called Contagious.
Okay.
So when I heard that he got the idea from that book, I read the book. So the book is all about like word of mouth type of marketing, right?
Okay.
So in one of the things for Contagious is like I forgot the name of the chapter, but it's basically like about your hook or whatever. So that was kind of what made me think of like what's going to be something that I'll do constantly or wear constantly or whatever, that when people see me or like you want them to associate. Like I wanted it to be where when you saw the color purple, you thought automatically a Hunni.
You just outside see a dude wearing like a purple shirt, like, wait, Hunni. Like,
let me
go listen.
Yo, that's the goal. So
you're trademarking yourself.
Literally, I got like this content video that we shot, and it'll be dropping on Tuesday on my Instagram. And when I sent my logo over to the videographer, I was like, "Yo, I know everybody else's shit. You've been doing it in black and white. Please put my logo in purple." He's like, "I got you." He sent it to me earlier, and I'm like, "Perfect. Here we go. Like, look good." So that's like the thing. But what was we talking about before I said that?
Something
just like you saying
any achievements.
Oh, the achievements. Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of those things. Like I try to live in those moments too. Like and just really like, you know, it's like you're younger and you say certain things like, yo, one day I'm gonna be up in here and one day I'm gonna be up in here. And then when it finally happens and you just, yo, but it's not what people fail to realize too, like artists, it's like you could get invited to the party. But when you there, you just gonna stand in the corner and you gonna tell everybody like, yo, it's at that party.
Or Snapchat the whole shit, but not really network or make something out of it. Or
you're gonna actually talk to people and, you know, get people's numbers and then follow up with them and this, that, and the third. And that's what I've been able to do. So being able to do that, that's why I was telling people, like, people act like certain things that they do are so much bigger than everything else. And I'm like, yo, I've been featured on ASCAP, like, out of my face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even when that happened, like, I'm posting it on my Twitter. They posted, you know, they tagged me in the Twitter video. And I'm like, yo, I'm going crazy. I put it on my Instagram, all that. But that didn't even get that much love. And I'm like, do y'all not know what ASCAP is in the music industry? Like, this is incredible.
Yo, so obviously we're in a state out Connecticut, the state we're from, right? It's not a music state. I would say it's not known for it. Like, even though I feel like there's a lot of fire artists out here, like, how would you rank yourself in Connecticut right now? Like, would you say like you're top 5 in the state? Like, I mean, because to get played in our radio station, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
what you've accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, I don't like to like think of ranking or competition or nothing like that, because just the way I feel is like whatever your passion is or whatever, that's cool. Like whatever. Yeah. I don't try to do the ranking thing. I put my post up on the strength of I know for a fact I don't get as much respect as I should get. And I don't say it on like a cocky level, but anybody that comes across me, I show everybody the utmost respect. I show everybody love. I could meet you today and you tell me go check out your music, and tomorrow I'll post that shit on my story. Like,
yeah, which is how it should be.
Right, because I'm real big on like support, and I'll do that for people, but it won't happen for me. And I don't get mad. I don't take it personal. So, or nothing like that. But I know it's like, I watch how people move too much. So I'll see certain situations where I'll be like, I ain't get that call or whatever. And I'll be like, that's cool. Cause you know how people just see certain people. So I'll be like, okay, you don't see me like that. But the day that everybody sees me like that, you're going to feel dumb as hell that you didn't see me like that.
I think you got a song called Trending.
Yeah, I just, I say that on Trending. That's my shit.
So when you say like, yo, you don't get the love that you feel, like, Because when we're going through your Instagram, like you got like a decent following, I'll say for like a rapper like that, you know, that I've like seen or something like that. Like you got a decent following. Do you like do you say like your posts aren't getting enough love, or just like your overall music in general?
Nah, I don't. I mean, I don't really care about likes and views and stuff. Like I post stuff, and I'm not really paying mind for like how many likes it's getting or how many views it's getting. I mean, when my phone notifications are like going off, like obviously I'll check stuff here and there, but I'm not concerned. Like I know people who will post something, and if it don't get a certain number of likes in a certain amount of time, they'll take it down.
Right.
Like I don't do nothing like that.
Do you think that's good though? Because I feel like we're just in such an age of like social media where like I feel like that kind of makes you nowadays. Like I feel like certain people have come up in the ranks through social media.
No, they definitely have, but I'm not gonna let social media define me. So
okay, that's a fact.
I'm not gonna sit here and pay for likes. I'm not gonna pay for views. None of that extra shit. Like if you fuck with me, you fuck with me.
Right.
That's it. That's all that's just how I feel about it. I just say like, and it's a lot of artists out here that go through it that like they deserve more love than what they get.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of artists that deserve more love than what they get. But when I say it's like there's certain artists that get a lot of love that I'm like, y'all have no clue that I've done 50 times more shit than this dude has done.
Okay.
But a lot of it is because they're men. You know what I'm saying? And I'm well aware of that. And even with this whole sex sales thing,
Right.
I get a lot more love on my posts when I'm dressed fully honey mode, you know what I'm saying? Than when I just try to be on my regular shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good title for a song, Honey Mode.
It probably will be one song. Nah, but you know, so with a dude, it's different. It's like you'll get the guys, of course, and then you got the females. With the girls, you'll get a lot of the females, and then it's harder to get the guys on board.
Your fan base, would you say it's like equal? Is there more women or like men and women, or is it like more one sided?
It's more women than men, but it's not a huge gap between the women, between the percentages of the women and men. Like if I look at my Spotify, like on the back end, and I'll see like maybe 60-40.
Okay.
Or
so
55, 45. You know,
that's good though. I mean,
whatever.
at least like you're like as you're growing, like you're getting that equal share of everybody. It's not like you're women heavier or the other end.
I mean, but we were talking about before where like we find that people will support your personal life, but not really support like whatever business ventures you actually go on. So what are some things that you feel like you're really not getting the support on? Or are there times where you expect the support from a certain person or certain people, but didn't really get the support?
I'll say this, right? Like kind of to piggyback off your question, like are there family and friends, right, that you kind of expect a certain amount of love from that you didn't get?
Yeah, there are. And I mean, you get over it after a while. You know, you sit there and like, you're like, yo, whatever. Like, I just look at it like, if I needed you to post me, like if I felt like I needed you to share my shit or I needed you to post me, then I'm insecure. Then I'm not valid with myself.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe you didn't share my shit, but that's not going to change the fact that you my cousin or you my sister-in-law or whatever.
So you don't look at people differently like that if they don't post your shit?
Nah.
I feel like
I'm always going to show love the way I show love. If you don't show love back to me the way that I show love to you,
it's not
going to change me because I don't do shit. I don't do shit on some tit for tat level. I don't do shit on like a now you owe me. Okay. I do stuff out of the goodness of my heart.
Because I feel like that's actually a very mature way to look at it. Like I got some other friends that are rappers as well, and they get very annoyed. They'll go on rants like, yo, like, oh, y'all don't fuck with me, like y'all don't repost my shit and all that. Like they're kind of like, and I'm just thinking like maybe they don't fuck with your shit, right? But it's like either way. And I'm always kind of torn. Is like, yo, just because I know you, are you obligated to show my shit love? And it's just like, I feel like that's a hard like line that people just have a hard time with nowadays. Like, yo, like just because you're my mom, should you like my shit or not?
Me, right?
The way I look at it is like they don't have to like it, they don't have to love it. Maybe on my EP, I dropped 4 fire records, and that 5th one you like, and you share only 4 and not 5. The way I look at it is like this. If I rock with you, like I'll have somebody that I know do a podcast or something, let's say. Yeah. Maybe I never watched an episode of the podcast, but I will still post it on my story. I just look at it like, yo, to share a post is free. It's not costing you anything but about 2 seconds to hit a button and hit post on my story or whatever. So I'm not asking you to fucking, yo, go make me a whole video of you banging this shit in the background. Right. I got people that I will ask, I'll be like, yo, do me a favor, like record yourself doing it. because that's the people I know who to ask. You know what I'm saying? That I know those are like part of my true fans where I can hit them up and be like, yo, do me a favor and whatever. And they be like, yeah, I got you. And then within 10 minutes, the video's up. You know what I'm saying? But I just look at it like, you don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. But if you fuck with me, throw it up there. It's 2 seconds.
But here's the thing. Like we were talking about it on one of our previous episodes that sometimes like we may fuck with you as a person, but we may not fuck with your content. Now, would it be fake for us to post your content even though we don't fuck with your content? Or is
no,
it fake
I think
for us
in that sense, if it's just really something where you're like, yo, I kind of can't rock with that, then nah, don't repost it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, if it's like a song or whatever, something like that you're like, yo, like, especially if you know, like, they worked hard on it or whatever, like, yo, take 2 seconds and just share it. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there is some content that needs to just stop being reposted. You know, like, but even with that, right? Like, look at I remember I said this before. I don't know if y'all remember a few years ago when they did the Monica So Gone challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. That. So I did the So Gone challenge. I don't even think I had put that on my Instagram back then. Or maybe I did. I know it was on my Facebook. But I want to say maybe I got like 500 views on it or something like that on Facebook or whatever, right? And then my cousin shared like this terrible one, right? It was like it was like some little white boy trying to do the So Gone challenge, whatever. And it was so trash. And that shit had like millions of views. And I was like, this is the problem. Everybody would sit there and be like, yo, at the time, this is me still going by Nikki. They're like, yo, Nikki, you killed that. I'm getting all kind of comments. How I only have 500 views in. But this one was terrible. Is getting millions of views. People will share the dumb shit before they share their people real shit.
Absolutely. And that's what you find in the music industry now. Like a lot of the shit that's actually coming out, like these new rappers, is straight garbage. But it's a good beat and they flow. So it's
not even. It's like, and that's why I feel like social media is like, it's like a gift and a curse because it's got the industry so oversaturated and so fucked up that like anybody thinks that they can just go into a studio and record whatever the fuck and they're just gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just trash because you look at like that what was that Shook dance shit, whatever. That song is terrible. But because people were doing a dance to it, every time I turn 937 on, they're fucking playing it. And I'm like,
the June bug. You talking about?
Yeah, that shit.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I actually saw like the challenge first, and I just
everybody saw the challenge.
I saw like
first.
that 30-second. I listened to that 30-second clip of the song, right? Yo, when I heard the actual song, like the full song, I was like,
garbage.
Like damn, they really playing this shit. Like,
yo, but it's a popularity contest, and it's sad that it's like that because you have real, genuine, talented artists who are literally giving it their fucking all out here, like making sacrifice after sacrifice after sacrifice for something that they genuinely love. You know what I mean? But because it's not a gimmick, it's not getting put on the radio outside of the 1 hour that Michi does on Friday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you said, it's a popularity contest. Like most of us are really trying to, every time when you're a content creator, whether it be music or film or even a podcast, it's like, who has the biggest name? Like, how many people do you know? How many connections could you make? And if you don't really find that, kind of like check those boxes, it's almost like you're pretty much just fighting an uphill battle for the most part.
But it goes back to that point I made earlier though about like social media be building yo, because it's like all it really I think was that one dude just did that little dance, and then just blew the song.
Becomes it's a Junebug challenge, and it's like it's funny to do the challenge, but then when you listen to the actual song, you're like, yo, what the fuck is this? But it's all over the radio, and it's like this is what's getting played over real talent, and I think the radios need to do a better job of highlighting their regular, their home state talent more outside of just the 1 hour on Friday night or every once in a while when you could get thrown into a mix show.
True.
And even to get thrown into the mix show, that's not where you can just if you're cool with the DJ, that's still not even like
you gotta get the playtime like main rate. Like
it has to be approved by the program manager. Okay. So whoever the program manager or director is for the station, they have to put it into the computer system. If it's not in the computer system, once it's in the computer system, any DJ can play it.
Okay.
Any DJ can play it.
Whenever they want.
If it's in the computer system. But it does not get put into the computer system unless the program director signs off on it.
Really?
Yeah.
So the
And then
DJs really
then-
don't. The DJs can't just pick the song off the bat. Then, like if they want to.
Nah, the only one is if they have like that designate, like how Michi
like a
has the
time-
1
like-
hour on Friday nights
You're right.
from 12 to
The
1 in
best
the morning.
DJ on 93.7. If you ask me personally.
Nah, Michi's fire. That's my boy. We grew up together.
Oh, word?
Middle school, high school, like yeah.
I feel like honestly when he played, like usually, I love when he's on because I feel like he plays like the best music and it's just not like that generic like song I'm gonna hear like 30 times throughout the day. Like, I feel like he plays like real like the music I want to hear.
Yeah. And I mean radio's got their hands tied with a lot of shit too. Like they go off of whatever analytics come out and then they gotta play based off of certain obligations that they have. You know what I mean? So it's like you hear the same song over and over and over. Trust and believe half those DJs do not want to keep playing those songs.
Really? I always thought it was like
that's their choice.
I thought they had that option.
Nah, it's I was at.
You're breaking down a lot of shit behind the scenes. That like
it's just because I've been in a lot of rooms and I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people.
Done a lot of shit.
Schooled me on a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
your rant was valid.
My mind just works different. Like
Right.
I'm like, yo, all right, cool. So this is what the radio door is gonna be, or I could do this with this or whatever. Like, all right, cool. So I just figure it out.
Okay.
So throughout your journeys, have you gotten like obviously everybody gets hate, right? But is there like how has like that kind of been to you? Like have you because you're Spanish, right? Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican.
Because obviously who's the only other like Spanish artist or Puerto Rican would be Cardi B, right?
Yeah, I think
She's like what? Isn't she like half black, half Dominican,
Something
or is
like
she
that.
just Dominican and was saying she was?
Who
I don't
even
know.
knows?
She needs,
I heard some shit like they was saying she was black, and then turns out she was.
I think
wasn't
honestly
black.
she was getting a lot of flack for saying nigga, and I think that's what kind of like she had to defend herself. And I think
Yeah.
that's just the path she chose. But how is it being like a Puerto Rican rapper? Because I feel like there's not that many out there, especially female.
Nah. I mean, I think it's cool. I don't try to make that be what I'm about though. Like,
Okay.
you know, you
It
just
doesn't
know.
define you.
Yeah, like it's kind of like remember when Fab had came out and like you just thought Fab was black,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, Fab pop up in the video with the Dominican flag on his sneakers, and everybody started going crazy like, yo, he's Dominican too. What? Like it was like a thing after that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like, but he didn't make that something that defined him. Like I'm a half Dominican or I'm a Dominican rapper. Like it was just something that you knew about him. So
Okay.
for me, you know, I don't try to look at like, oh, I am one of the only Puerto Rican females out here. I'm just like, no, I'm a female and I'm Puerto Rican. Like,
You know, one thing that I guess as a stigma as like being a black person looking into like a Spanish community, that you guys really stick together. And I noticed that in your song Made Of, you talked about I guess like your mother not supporting you as much. Do you
Yeah.
feel like it's like why do you think that was? Was it because she wasn't okay with like you going becoming a rapper, or she had different aspirations for you?
nah. So with my mom and dad both, that line was actually supposed to say parents, but it didn't sound because it was too many syllables. So I
Okay.
just changed it to mom. Because of the two, I guess my mom supported me least,
Right.
lesser than my dad did. But, you know, my mom and dad, they grew up like, you know, teen parents and all that with my older brother or whatever, and they struggled a lot. So for them, they just had it in their head, like, and you know, it's not their fault. It's taught to a lot of generations where it's like you got to get good grades in school,
Go
you
to
got to get
college.
into college. After college, you graduate and you get a good job, and you know that's just like, and it's not. I don't blame them for that. So it's like anything that kind of like veered away from that, they didn't understand
Okay
it. They
with
didn't
it, right.
understand my creative side. You know what I'm saying? Like even though my dad was a DJ, so when I was little, like
Oh, so that should have been like an easy transition.
Yeah,
for
like,
him.
and that's why I said like my dad supported me to an extent. But my dad wasn't quitting his job to be my manager like Beyonce's dad or that like that. Because I've been rapping since I was a little kid.
Okay.
So but like my dad, like, you know, I remember him taking me down to the basement and him putting on like the instrumental side to one of his vinyls, and he's
Mhm.
like, all right, well, rap. You know what I mean? And I would do stuff like that, and you know, he supported me in a sense in that way or whatever. But it wasn't a full thing, and I think my mom always just kind of thought that it was gonna be a hobby for me, and not that it was what I wanted to do with my
Full
life.
time.
So, you know, like even, you know, I was 17, I'd be like, man, I can't wait till I turn 18. I'm
Yeah.
moving, I'm this and that. And my mom be like, why you want to get out of Connecticut so bad? But she's just she's content. Like to her, she never had a dream or an aspiration to leave Connecticut. She looks at it like my family's here. You know, everything is fine. I got my job. Like, why would I want to go somewhere? I'll go on
Absolutely, yeah,
vacation,
yeah.
but why would I want to move somewhere else? And for me, I'm like, nah, I'm trying to move to LA, or I want to go move into the city or whatever. And she never understood that about me. So that's why I said, mom ain't never had a dream, so she had no faith in me.
Okay.
Because she didn't have a bigger dream.
Literally.
Yeah, and it's nothing wrong with the life that she lives. She's content, and that's fine. But I'm not a content type of person.
I mean, and you find that within like, our parents are all immigrants, so we find that with like people that come over here, try to work hard, they're used to like, getting a 9 to 5 and working a 9 to 5 and not really seeing like, okay, there's a different avenues of making money. Like there's you can make money online, or you could become an entrepreneur and make money, or you could become a rapper and make money. Like they're not really
even
seeing
right
that.
now, even right now I started trading. So with my trading, like I do the stock market, and even with that, like I got stocks in the stock market, and like nobody in my family did stocks.
Right.
And I, like outside, like my mom and my dad, they got like their 401k. So your 401k that does go into, but that's like your job stocks or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't actually like, they're not sitting there like reading articles and like, oh, this stock is going to take off or whatever. The only person in my family that ever talked about stocks was my grandfather. And even he passed away recently. And my aunt that he left all the stocks to, she's trying to figure out how the hell do I get these on my name? Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't, it wasn't something that was taught to us. And like all these rich motherfuckers that is out here right now, they banking because they invested in Apple back when niggas was like,
$50 a share.
It was like, what's an apple? Like, I eat it, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. But we didn't learn about that shit back then. We learning about dumb shit that does nothing for us. Absolutely. I don't give a fuck about trigonometry. The fuck did I have to learn that shit for?
There's a lot of stuff in school that they taught us that doesn't even really, that's not relevant to us. They didn't teach us how to do our taxes.
My most valuable class in high school, I had to say, was probably my keyboarding class. Because I'm a beast with typing. Like, like typing papers, or when I gotta write stuff. I work on a lot of projects. You gotta be on a computer, typing my lyrics out or whatever. I'm beastie at it. That's probably the best class I had, was that one. No offense to none of my other teachers or whatever, but what did I use the most?
All that shit, all offense. That's just a waste of time.
What did I use the most? I used the most out of my keyboarding class.
Even when you get to college, like it's like the same thing too. Like you're just taking a bunch of bullshit classes to fill up the credits. But I mean, if you had to follow your parents' direction and to not do rap, what would be something that you would find yourself interested in doing?
Well, I have a bachelor's degree right now. Because I did go to college, like mom and dad wanted.
Right.
I would have been I have a bachelor's degree right now in criminology and psychology. So my goal was to become a juvenile probation officer because I like working with kids.
Right.
Even shithead kids. They are
I work with kids right now, and I don't enjoy it. So kudos to you.
Oh no, my last job that I had, I was working with kids that were in the system, and that actually deterred me from wanting to do that. But that's what my degree is in. Either that, or I might have like gone in for like business, like try to open up my own business or something like that.
Okay. So now that you're on this path of you're a rapper. What are some goals that you have for yourself moving forward that you haven't achieved? Because you have touched a lot of bases. You have done a lot of things.
What are some your resume is definitely impressive so far.
So what are some things that's still on the resume to check off? Like what are some things that you you feel like you haven't accomplished quite yet?
So I mean, one thing is I've always had a dream to be signed to Jay-Z. He's my like favorite rapper, but I look up to him on a business level too.
Does he actually manage Roc Nation?
Roc Nation is his label or whatever, but there's the label, there's the management side of it, like so a lot of artists like Meg and Meek and stuff like that, they're on the management side of it. And then you got like J. Cole, Rhapsody, The Lox, they're actually signed to Roc Nation. So I would want to be signed to Roc Nation. Like I don't even care about the money, none of that. Like I just want to be signed to Jay. Like like why wouldn't you want to be under your idol, the person that you grew up idolizing? You know what I'm saying? So that's still like something I'm still working towards. And I mean,
is he somebody that you've not idolized in the sense of like just his stature, but is he somebody that got you into rapping?
Nah, I actually started rapping after I watched a Lil' Kim video when I was a kid. So it was the Ladies Night remix or Not Tonight remix.
Oh, okay.
With her, Lil' Kim.
I know that shit.
I mean, Lil' Kim with her, Angie Martinez, the Brat, Missy Elliott. They're all in their left eye. So it's like I just remember, sitting there one day in the summer watching at my grandmother's house, watching TV. We always used to keep it on BET, watching the videos in the morning, and I seen that video and I was like, that looks cool. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then like
it just hit. Like it just
and
instant.
I literally grabbed a pen and paper and just started
Is
rapping
there
after that.
a timeline for you? Because obviously you've been doing this for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Like say like you don't hit like the big fame like the next 10. Like is there a timeline for you? Is this always something that you're gonna do regardless if you get like the big money or not?
So if I was to not get the major deal like we're working for right now, music is gonna be my path regardless. So I don't think I'll ever stop rapping. I can't ever see me stop rapping because that's just like what makes me like really, really happy. So I can't see myself ever not doing music. And I had this conversation with my husband too. I was like, yo, because actually a lot of people don't know this, but I'm also an engineer.
Okay.
I don't practice engineering a lot because I like to just be able to be the artist, but I can. I actually went to school for it. Like I'm certified, all that shit. I went to school in New York for that. And then now I'm going to school for music business. So I'm the total package. Like I'm going to make sure I'm all around. Which a lot of people need to do for themselves now, which they don't. But yeah, so I already told my husband like, yo, one way or another, whether it's maybe down the line, like even my manager was an artist. And then down the line, he realized that he was more of a beast on the business side. He was a dope rapper. He got bars. He busted down a lot of doors, but now those doors are open for me while he's managing me because he realized that he was even beastier on the business side.
And he's still in that lane anyway.
Right. So for me, it's like, even if for whatever reason, you know, the Lord has another path for me, maybe I don't get the Grammy as Hunni, but maybe I get the Grammy as the writer. Maybe I get the Grammy as the producer or whatever.
So regardless, like you're gonna be in the music.
Yeah, like at some point I'll, down the line I'll be opening up my own studio. I have a lot of aspirations.
You can't feel thinking like that. That's like I always believe that. Like if you're not in it for the money, which doesn't seem like you are, like you're bound to succeed.
Right.
Yeah, then that's why like
if it's your passion.
Yeah, like I always say faith over fear all day. My hoodie, faith over fear. Like that's my thing. Like everybody knows that's my hashtag. Like that's my shit is faith over fear because you gotta have faith in yourself over the fear of failure, over the fear of judgment. So the fact that like it doesn't matter what my mom ever said, it doesn't matter what my father ever said, it doesn't matter who supported me and who didn't support me. That does not change the genuine love I have for hip hop. And because I have that genuine love, it's never gonna leave me. You know what I'm saying? Like when you unconditionally love something, like just like your kids, you unconditionally love your kids. No matter what your kids do, you unconditionally love your kids.
Most days.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I got young kids, but they could do something fucked up that I would never agree with. I'd be like, yo, what the fuck? I might be the one to put you in jail because you deserve that shit. Yeah. But I'm never gonna not love you. You know what I mean? You're never not, and I feel like the same way I love my kids, that's how I love my music. Like that shit is just a part of me.
Right.
So no matter what, and even like I said, like maybe being a manager, that shit is, I don't even like saying that shit because I'm so like, there's no other option but for me to be a mainstream hip hop artist.
Got the tunnel vision towards the goal.
Yeah, like, and if you're not working at that level, like if you say it, people think like, oh, I manifest this. No, you know that when you say something, you put in the atmosphere, you have to actually work for that shit.
Right.
And like, I'll say
that's very key because nowadays that's actually a big thing, right? Manifestation, right?
Yeah, every other word out of people's mouth is fucking.
But they really just think like if they stand there, it's just gonna happen. Like you gotta manifest it and do it.
Right, like you hear about all these people coming from the mud and da. That's because they fucking believed in them fucking selves. Like and like yo, especially this younger generation, it's fucking terrible, yo. They're so fucking lazy and stupid. And like I'm keeping it as real as I fucking can, yo, because like. Yo, look at how many young artists you've seen do interviews and stuff, and they sound dumb as fuck. Like they've never even read a book.
Bro, and NBA YoungBoy, I swear he be stuck anytime he do an interview. So I like, especially the younger ones. But I think it's the drug. Yo, I think it's the drug.
It probably is.
Yo, actually,
it probably is.
Speaking of that, like since you've been like in the game, I mean, because you've been in Atlanta, LA, like how much of a part, like how much is drugs a part of the game? Like has that been introduced to you, forced to you in any way? I mean, especially with like, like the biggest thing like this week, right, was like DMX overdose and like, does that kind of have an effect on you? Like,
well, first of all, DMX overdose and hit me like in a whole different way because, like Nipsey dying, that hit me one way. Excuse me. Nipsey dying hit me one way, but like DMX, like. I grew up on DMX. I have childhood memories to like party up and stuff in like
Yeah.
middle school and shit like that, where we're like at the school dances, like going nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have like these deep memories, like even on my runs and stuff like that. Like if I'm on a sprint day, I'm banging DMX. Like that's every time I got to go do a sprint, I'm banging DMX.
Get you hype.
Yeah, like so, like that situation is sad. But DMX was also battling those drug demons before the game. He's been battling that demon since he was 14, and it was fucked up how he got introduced to it or whatever, where he got tricked into that shit, and it's really fucked up because it's so sad how it turned out. Like 50 years old and you're gone from this earth because of a drug overdose because unfortunately your demons got the best of you.
That's become like the big thing in the
No,
world.
it is. Look at what happened with Juice WRLD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
X.
yeah, and it's sad or whatever, but me personally, I don't give a fuck what people are doing around me. If I'm not drinking today, I'm not drinking today.
Right.
If I want to drink, hell yeah, let's turn up. You know what I mean? But outside of drinking and weed, that's it for me. And it for me, I don't judge anybody. Like each his own. If you want to do this drug, if you want, fine, cool. If I wanted to actually try something and be like, well, sure, let me see what that feels like. That's on me. But nobody will ever influence me to do anything.
Absolutely.
But have you been in the position where like someone like
has offered it
tried?
to you?
Nah, not industry wise.
Okay.
Well, I guess on a side note, like what's next for Hunni? Like what do you think is gonna take you to that next
level
step that you want to get to?
I mean, right now we're shopping around right now trying to look for like an upstream deal. Like I said, my contract with my manager is technically over. And when I say manager, like he's also the one. It was his indie label, so he was wearing two hats. Like, but it was basically us two building the label together.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Are you his first artist?
Yeah.
Okay.
First and only artist. So as far as like what's next, like I said, we're looking for the upstream deal. If the right offer comes to the table, that'll be the next move. And then in the meantime, between time, I'm just gonna keep putting out records. So, and I'm just figuring out different creative ways to do stuff, like without having to put out a music video because, I mean, let's be real, music videos are fucking expensive. I don't really care how hood or how cheap you get it done. It's still an expensive thing. Between
a couple $100,000.
Between like whatever the videographer is gonna charge, and that's the thing. A lot of people, they're putting out videos, but then when you look at the quality, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With me, I'm not gonna put a video out unless my quality is of a certain standard. And I'm gonna work with certain directors that I know. Okay, so when I want to do this video,
quality over quantity,
I'm gonna call this person. But anybody that I'm gonna call, we looking at least $1,000 just for the videographer. Now you got to look at locations. So if it's outside, usually you don't have to pay anything, but there are some outside locations depending on what it is. People will want money to use that area or whatever. Or if you got to get a permit and you got to pay for a permit or whatever. If you got to rent a fly car, because let's be real, all these fly ass cars that you see in these videos,
rented.
They're all rented. None of y'all own this shit. Like we could say it. I'ma say it all day in my rap.
It sound good.
You know what I'm saying?
Nikki
that
already
said
it. Nikki said it. They be all rented. They shit.
Yeah, like so. Now you got to look at outfits. You got to look at for a female, hair and makeup. That's another expense. Jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a lot that comes into play. For people to go watch a video twice.
If that, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on average, somebody's gonna go watch your video, be like, "Oh, that shit was fire," whatever. They'll repost it, but they're not constantly clicking on it because to go, run it up or whatever on YouTube. Right. That's not the thing. So I'm gonna sit here and spend $2,000-$3,000 on a video, and just for people to watch it twice, when I could have spent $2,000-$3,000 and recorded an album. You know what I mean? So I look at it like now. The whole thing is figuring out new creative ways to promote a record that's still gonna not come into my pockets heavy. And I don't really care how much money I start making at the end of the day. Like, be smart about your shit. Motherfuckers are getting rich and then going broke because they do dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be smart about my shit. I got a whole family that's on my shoulders that I have to take care of.
Right.
So I'm always gonna play my shit smart. Like, yeah, it's okay to splurge and it's okay to do this and it's okay to do that, but like I said, if you're going to keep shooting these videos, figure out the best way to shoot them without taking the quality away. Like I said, a lot of people are putting videos out and they're trash videos or whatever. So for me,
you trying to be cheap.
Right. For me, it's like, okay, what's going to give me the most bang for my buck if I'm about to spend this $1,000, should I spend this $1,000 just to pay for a videographer, or can I spend this $1,000 and do like 10, 30-second Instagram clips that are like some fly ass, you know what I'm saying, that I could like use to promote the record, which that's gonna be more beneficial.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you want people to stream your record, or to, you know, crazy thought, go on Amazon Music or iTunes and actually buy it for $1.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, you know, crazy.
You're
thought.
out of control now, right?
Crazy thought. Like, why would I ever think that would be a thing?
Right.
But you know what I actually did with? So I got this one record called "Mommy Loves You," and with that I actually shot just like a promo clip, and it's a story. I'm telling a story about something that happened to me when I was a teenager. So, what I did was I took the first like 10 seconds of the song and we did a little 20-second clip, and that's what I put on my Instagram page and on my Facebook. And then I said, if you want to hear the rest of the story, cash at me $1 and put your email address in the note section.
All right, little Nipsey.
Yo, because I'm like, the thing is, right, it's a story record. So this isn't something that people are going to stream banging it in the car. This isn't something that people are going to get ready to the club with or anything like that, or get ready to go out or get hyped to.
Like, once they hear the end of the story.
It's a deep, meaningful record about a real life situation that I went through. So
could you touch on it, or we gotta give you the $1 right now?
Nah, I can talk about it.
All right.
So with the song, it's like, all right, cool. So if you want to hear the whole story, cash at me $1. Because and in my post too, I was like, yo, I'm doing this one different. We taking it back to selling the CDs out the chunk days, but we ain't selling the CDs. We're gonna do it digital. Cash at me $1. You get the thing. And I got a lot of love off of that. I had people who cash at me $2, people who cash at me $5, people who cash at me $20, people cash at me $10. Right. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people sent me the $1, which is all I asked for. But I had a lot of other people that was like, yo, I respect your hustle. Like,
yo, and imagine like if you had done it like that's actually very smart, right? I've never heard something like that. That's really original.
That's what I'm talking about, covered up with these little creative things.
Because I think it was Jay-Z that I heard talk when he was talking about that Nipsey Hussle mixtape being $100, right? He's like, yo, when you're charging $100, you don't even need 1 million people to fucking pay for the shit, right? You need 1,000 people. Yeah. There you go. You got bread. So, yo, if you continue that idea, which I think that's actually that's a beast idea. Like, for your next story, right? Maybe it's $5 this time, right? And all you need is like 100 people, right? There you go. Like, $500.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good way. That's some good marketing.
Yeah, like what I made
is paying off, yo.
Like what I made that first day off of people emailing me, people sending me the Cash App. What I made that first day basically paid back what I spent on the videographer for the 20-second clip.
You invested in yourself and it came back.
Yeah, so and I was like, yo, it's fuck it, why not try it? You know what I'm saying? Like, worst come to worst, nobody fucking sends me $1. Like,
yeah, I'll be all right.
Like, whatever, I tried it. If it doesn't work, I'll fucking take the post down. Like, fuck it, but it worked.
I really like that shit, honestly.
I actually got to repost it again because, you know, it's now because I did that the 31 days in March. I did
the 31 days of
women's history.
My favorite two, I think, might have been day 420. I think whichever ones you did the Eve on the Eve beat.
Okay, did I have the wig on and stuff? Because
I don't think so.
One of the Eve beats.
You did two Eve beats.
Yeah. The second Eve beat was like towards the end. That was like day 28 or something.
I think that's like those are my two favorite ones.
Okay.
What made you obviously like Women Month, right? But is that like anything else? Like just complete support of women's rap? Is that?
Yeah, I just had the idea. I was like, you know, another thing of like what's something that nobody else is thinking about doing. Yeah. So that's why I was like, yo, like I was like, you know what? I'm very big on women supporting women because I feel like it's too much cattiness that goes on in the industry. And it's always like somebody trying to be put up against somebody. Like even back then where it was like the Little Kim and Foxy Brown, they should have never been put against each other. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the industry kind of put it
and
that way.
It is what the industry does. They want it to be a head-to-head thing like Nicki and Cardi. Nicki and Cardi should have never been a thing.
True.
And if you want to get real with it, Nicki... I'm not even a Nicki fan like that, but let's be real about it. Nicki fucking held the game down by herself, the only female for like a decade before Cardi even came into the play. So how the fuck are you comparing them? And Nicki might have people write her hooks or whatever the case is, but Cardi did not have a hit until somebody else wrote her whole entire song.
Was it Bodak Yellow, right?
Yeah. You go look at those writer credits on Bodak Yellow. Cardi B's name is not on that.
She's always been mad upfront about that shit too.
No, yeah, I mean, but she did at first take credit that she wrote Bodak Yellow.
Really?
Yeah.
By the
I don't
time
know,
I
I
heard
heard
it,
at
like
first,
she was
yeah.
like, I thought
I saw an interview where I did see an interview where somebody was asking her about it, and she was like, yeah, it's just I had haters and and
damn. Did you throughout the 31 days of like freestyling, did you feel like towards the end like you running out of like stuff to talk about, or is it always just you always got it on deck?
I mean, one thing as a writer is like, you're constantly always, sharpening your pen game, you know what I mean? So I had a lot of material already that,
Okay.
was like kind of on deck. So when I was doing them, sometimes it was like that same day, right then and there, I'm doing it. Other ones was like stuff that I never released yet that I'm like, oh yeah, this verse that I did a while back, this goes perfect with this beat or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, but the whole point was just to bring awareness back to those projects. Like, I did a Queen Latifah beat, I did an MC Light beat, I did a Queen Pen beat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So these is artists that paved the way for us now. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of Little Kim, a lot of Foxy Brown or whatever. So it's just kind of like giving you a little reminder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I said, paying homage to who came before us.
I think which is rare. I feel like a lot of women coming up, women rappers, like they don't really acknowledge like what was there before them.
Right. Which was like that whole thing with Little Kim and Nicki, where Little Kim's like, yo, you did exactly what I did. Like, pay homage to the queen, shorty. Like, what's up? And I understood that because it's like, yo, you literally, like, it's her blueprint.
Yeah.
It was her blueprint. Legit.
Yeah.
Definitely stole her idea, the image, the everything.
Everything. The sexiness, you know what I'm saying? The
a lot
wigs,
of the pictures,
the colors,
all of that.
like all that shit is like, yo, you can't say that wasn't Little.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying it's not Little Kim inspired, but it's clearly fucking Little Kim inspired.
So one thing that I've noticed that you spoke on a couple times, like you're big on family, right?
Yeah.
And you're married.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kind of think about this situation. If I was in it, right, how I would deal with it is like, how has your husband been throughout this whole like your rap career? Because it's like obviously you're around a lot of men, and you probably been in some rooms with like some powerful men. You feel me?
Yeah.
Has he like ever tripped, or have you guys had any issues in your relationship? Like, like because you're always around like the opposite sex.
No, he's the word. The thing is we work so well the way we work because we fully trust each other.
Okay.
Why the fuck would I marry somebody I didn't trust? And that's why a lot of marriages and shit break up now, whether it's an artist or whatever, because y'all not going into it based with a solid foundation. You know what I mean? And me and my husband, we had trust issues in the past, but that wasn't even really so much of like not trusting each other. It was just past pain that was like we were taking out on each other. You know what I mean? And then we got to a point where we realized like, okay, every time you've gone through my phone, do you find anything? Like every time I go through your phone, do I find anything?
Right.
No. So then at that point, you like picking dumb shit to get mad at, and then we grew to a point where we're like, okay, we know we love each other.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, like, and don't get it twisted, my husband comes with me to as many things as he can.
Okay.
If we can get a sitter for the kids, he comes with me to as many things. Like, but if there's like today, he was actually going to help my dad with some home improvement stuff, so he couldn't come with me. But he would have. Like, he comes with me to as much stuff as possible. Yeah, so it's like, and I never not wear my wedding ring in my photo shoots, video shoots, whatever. I never not wear my wedding ring. Everybody knows I'm married. Like, I make it very clear that I'm married, and he knows that, and he knows that I would never let anybody disrespect our marriage. Like, and he knows that I'm not gonna disrespect our marriage.
So, like, with the rappers you've worked, you've never had anybody that's like,
Do
no.
you find that behind every supportive or every successful person there's a supportive partner, or do you feel like the support just comes from, or the success just comes based off of the person that's actually working towards that goal?
I think it really depends on what the situation is and like what type of support you need. Like, if I had a deadbeat for a baby father, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would probably be hard for me to move around the way I move around with having 2 small kids. You know what I mean? So, but I don't have a deadbeat. You know what I mean? And it's just different things. Like I said, I think it just depends on what type of support you need. There's a lot of people who've come up where they say that they didn't have anybody behind them, but I feel like you had to have at least one person.
somebody there.
You know what I mean? Who, when you felt down, somebody helped talk you off the ledge or something. I definitely think it's important.
So when you were like in Atlanta or like LA, like you were married at the time?
Yeah.
So so he was definitely like you definitely got the
full
support.
yeah.
Like,
yeah, he knows, and I'm always honest with him about everything. Like, trust. Like if I'm out when I go to Atlanta, my best friend actually lives there.
Okay.
So when I go to Atlanta, I stay with her. So it's never an issue of like a hotel or anything like that. And we're, he doesn't even, I love him so much because he don't even be on that bullshit where like he's constantly calling me every hour or whatever. When I'm out, like we'll talk maybe every few hours, or like he'll text me maybe like
just check in
4 hours after, like, oh, how's the thing going or whatever, like you good, like he'll be like, you straight or whatever. But we don't be on each other like that. Like if like he knows like when I have to work, I gotta get my work done, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't be on the phone. But if I need him, he's there, and like there's been situations where I've had to go out of state and I've had to stay in a hotel room and there's 5 of us bunking in one room and I'm the only female. And he'll know. Like I'll tell him, I'll be like, yo, but I'm getting that bed and everybody else is getting a cot or a floor. Like let's keep that straight. You know what I'm saying? But he knows that, I tell him, I'll be like, yeah, so Jimmy booked us this hotel room, but like Rich is over here with us. And I'll be like, but Rich is on the floor, Jimmy's on the other bed. We got
most guys wouldn't even. They don't care what the situation is. Like they're not
shut
okay.
that shit down, right?
We share a hotel room with 4 men.
Like you telling me, and nothing's gonna happen. Like
actually, I think the most I've shared a room with is 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even
that's
then,
3 too many for me. I don't know.
Nah, like I said, but the thing is that
But the
everyone,
solid.
Yeah.
right, and everyone that I'm around respects my husband. Like I said, he comes with me to a lot of stuff, so it's really not that many people that I've been around who haven't met my husband.
Okay. Well, we look forward to meeting him next time we have it here.
Definitely bring him through the next time.
Oh no, he'll come. Like I said, today he had already like promised my dad to help him out with some stuff.
Definitely.
So
before we wrap it up, I was wondering if we get, and I got you with the Cash App. Can we get the story?
Oh yeah, I got you. All right, so
she thought he was gonna ask for a freestyle.
I'm like, yo, I did a lot this last month.
She exhausted. She did 31 days straight.
I saw it in her face. Like she was like, come on.
Like, nah, but so Mommy Loves You. Basically, when I was 18, I was just coming off of my freshman year of college. I used to go to UConn. I was coming home from my freshman year of college, linked up with like an ex-boyfriend that, it was one of those young teenage love things, that you think, down the line, y'all will end up like really together or whatever.
Together forever.
Right.
Had like 10 of those. What?
Right. So, I ended up linking up with him one night. And then that night I was like, why do I keep going back to him? Like, he's still doing the same bum shit that he was doing before. I'm in college now. Like, I need to just move on. So that was my mindset. I'm moving on, and then found out I was pregnant. So when I found out I was pregnant, he left me. Like, I reached out to him to let him know that I was pregnant, and he tried to play the shit out of me, told me that it wasn't his and all this other shit, even though he knew I wasn't that type of girl, like to just be out here or whatever. So he dipped, and then I didn't hear from him again. And it was just kind of like what I went through in that time frame. And I did lose the baby, because I would have had like a teenager right now.
Okay.
So I did lose the baby, but the story is just basically like how we went from A to Z, so it's like everything I was going through, dropping out of college, stressing out with my mom, all the stuff that you go through. Cause, a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people think about like what I was going through was more so like, everybody kept telling me like, oh, you hurt your father's so disappointed in you, your mother was crying, your grandmother did it. And it's like everybody's talking about what my actions, how my actions affected everybody else. And I'm like, does anybody care about how Nikki feels?
Feel, right?
Like, does anybody realize that like I'm about to be a teen mom and the dude that I thought was gonna be there dipped on me, and you guys want me to be more concerned that my father's hurt? But I gotta drop. I gotta drop out of college. I gotta go full time at this job I fucking hate, so that I could be able to support this child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so much going on. And I just got to a point, like, a lot of people didn't know that about me. Because unless you were friends with me at the time, people didn't know that I was pregnant back then. And then, so it was just one day we were at South by. We were in South by Southwest. And it was after, like, my first time performing. And like I said, I've known Jimmy for a long time. So this was way before he was my manager, anything like that. We were all at South by Southwest together, and I had just came off the stage, and we were walking back, and he was like, yo, Nikki, you need a Love is Blind. Yo, I'm telling you, you need an Eve, you need a Love is Blind record. So he's like, yo, I'm gonna get you with this. My boy, he's a dope producer. Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right. So I end up finding the beat, that I was gonna use. And then I'm like, okay, I got the beat. What am I gonna talk about? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got the beat. What is the story supposed to be? So I'm like, okay, do I want to talk about something that happened in my life? Do I want to just make something up? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nah, but if it's gonna be real, like if I'm gonna give it emotion for, to be on the level that it needs to be on, it gotta be some real shit. So I was just like thinking like, damn, what's something that I don't talk about? Like I really had to sit with myself, like, what's something that people just don't know about me? And then I was like, shit, I thought about when I was 18. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to talk about that. And I actually rewrote that song like 6 times.
Really? Why?
Just trying to make sure I told the story in the best way I could.
Okay.
It's like, if you're going to do it right.
Most definitely.
I mean, that's definitely some real shit like that. A lot of people go through. And, most people don't look at it like this. Like, because like, when you're young, right, and you do some fucked up shit, your first thought is like, yo, what are my parents gonna think?
Yeah, like my parents are gonna kill me or whatever.
Nobody really considers like, yo, like I'm stressed as fuck. Like my whole life just got altered. Like
right.
I
got all these goals.
School, I can't reach those goals and aspirations that I have.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yo, everything happens for a reason. Yo, thank you for sharing that story with us. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Just for the listeners out there, drop where can they hear your music, listen to you, follow you?
Okay, so I'm on all the streaming platforms. Just type in HUNNI, Hunni. I'm on all the streaming platforms. So no matter what you got, I'm on there. And then, Instagram, Twitter is at Hunni Music, HUNNI Music, Facebook.com/Hunni Music. And those are the main 3 that I use. I don't have Snapchat and I'm never on my TikTok. But my TikTok is Hunni Music. I'm just never on there. So I'm like 3 platforms is kind of
you might need me more active on TikTok, man. Get one of these kids to dance to this shit.
Yo, I hear it all the time. You know what? Anybody watching, if you're a dancer and you want to go create a show off dance, I was supposed to have a dance for show off when I dropped it, and it was supposed to be a TikTok challenge. I hired somebody to come up with the dance for me because I'm not a dancer. I got a mean 2-step, but that can't be show off.
I got a square. I'm a big guy. I got a square. I stay in that square.
You feel me? Like, and you got the snap.
I got the Billy. That's my shit.
The snap is too much. Just the head bob. Like, you feel?
Okay, I throw the snap. I throw the snap with the 2-step. So, but I remember I hired somebody. She never came through. She ended up just cash apping me my money back. And a lot of people told me oh no, I have a lot of choreographer friends and nobody did it. So I was just like, okay, cool. So if anybody wants to make a dance for show off and let's turn it into a TikTok thing, please, just DM me.
Let's get to it. But all right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment. Just tune in.
Spread that love.
Spread the love. And what's the saying?
Faith over fear. Faith over fear. Every day, faith over fear.
Alright.
Counting money off my ass while I'm puffing a Dutch. You know how to get me going is be fucking a what?
I'm fucking it up. Deep stroke all in your guts. No frontin' Joe Button, I be pumping it up.
The way you hold it down, you ain't never gotta worry. I ain't going nowhere. Me and you is mandatory. All these bros wanna hate. All these boys wanna fuss.
I ain't none of these niggas. Put the money in the truck. Hurry up. I'm a thug down to the weak Tims. You know I'm only sober on weekends. You mean so much to me. Ain't no way we just gonna be friends. I want the real thing. I don't pretend.
We deep so gangsta, I rob a bank with you.
You can pour that Henny while I roll a dank with you.
I put my makeup on
while I'm cleaning off the pistol.
You know I'm down to ride if we ever got an issue.
You so gangsta,